Hello fellow hunters, today we're diving deep into Monster Hunter Wilds as the demo is just around the corner, and I'm so excited for it. I've got here with me some crucial information that you need to know before you jump in, including some things that were not detailed in the showcase, so that you can have a smooth ride and enjoy your experience with the demo to the fullest. In this video I'm going to be covering everything from system requirements to gameplay features, ensuring that you're fully prepared for your first hunt and ideally dozens if not hundreds of hunts in this new open beta test, because there's nothing quite like a new installment in the Monster Hunter series, and boy does it show that Capcom have some good confidence in this game by letting us play it early these many weeks in advance. With that being said, hello everyone, my name is Dark Hero and let's get started. So first things first, here on screen you can see the release dates and release times for the demo depending on your time zone. So for me it will start on October 29th at 3 AM since I have PlayStation Plus and that gives you early access. If you however are on Steam or Xbox or you don't have PlayStation Plus, then you have to wait for October 31st or the 1st of November to be able to play the demo. And one thing that was not covered in the Capcom showcase is that you will actually be able to pre-download the open beta test one day ahead of the release. So for PlayStation Plus members, by the time this video releases you might already be able to download the demo, although keep in mind that these release times are subject to change. Now another very important thing to take into account is that the open beta test is going to require a minimum of 29 GB of space, with the full install for the full release of the game being expected to be 140 gigs, though it might end up being even bigger with the day one patch and such. And they also do note that it is recommended that you play with an SSD, because now we're going to be playing in much bigger fields, we're essentially playing in these open world like maps, so it is expected that you might need to have an SSD. If you don't have one installed on your PS5 you are probably still fine, though you may suffer some bigger load times. Now the minimum required specs as well as the recommended specs are something that I talked about previously, with the recommended specs being particularly high considering that the game is expected to perform at 1080p 60 frames per second with frame generation enabled. And on the side of the minimum requirements, there's nothing too egregious there, though it is going to be taxing on your system for you to be able to run the game at 60 frames per second if you only have the minimum required specs. And of course the demo is going to take place in the Windward Plains. This is the first locale that we were ever shown in Monster Hunter Wilds, and we're going to have access to essentially a story demo where we have the introduction and a tutorial segment, as well as some story cutscenes are introduced to the cast, and is there to generally give you an idea of how the game's story is going to start out. And I'm sure by now that we have all seen just how vast the Windward Plains is, being such a massive locale with various different environments and even a lot of vertical depth to it. Not only do you have these swaying grasslands, but you also have these twisting rock formations, sandy deserts and underground caves, and of course they're going to be filled with a variety of monsters. And the ones that you can expect to find in the demo are going to be none other than Chattacabra, who is the monster that you're going to hunt in the very beginning of the game, even including the tutorial section of the demo, Doshaguma the Fanged Beast, who you will even have a dedicated quest to hunt one of them, in particular an Apex Doshaguma that you're going to want to separate from the pack to be able to hunt them, although you could of course tackle the entire pack, as well as Balahara the desert dwelling leviathan that can not only ride the sand dunes but can also create quicksand traps and has honestly a very cool looking armor set. And naturally there is the apex monster of the Windward Plains, Raidao, the flying wyvern that rules this region and uses lightning to be able to dish out a ton of damage, and is likely going to be the biggest challenge that you can tackle in this demo. Now in order to hunt Raidao you're going to need to go on an expedition, and as you are playing through the demo and exploring the Windward Plains, the region is going to experience what is known as the inclemency. In the case of the Windward Plains, it's a sand tide that is going to bring a great sandstorm that comes with thunder as well, and that is when Raidao will show up and you'll be able to hunt him. Though don't be worried, Raidao is not going to immediately leave right after the sand tide ends. He actually stays on the map for a whole lot longer, so you will have plenty of opportunities to be able to hunt him down, though it is likely not going to be an easy feat. And as I mentioned before in one of my previous videos, that is exactly what I'm going to try to do, to not only hunt Raidao as many times as I can, but to do so with every weapon available in the demo. And a final monster that I also believe will be available in the demo for you to hunt is going to be Chemetris, the brute wyvern that is essentially a fire chicken. So that is going to be fun. And of course, you're not necessarily going to be alone by yourself in this demo, as you can play it with up to 3 other players, and the open beta test is actually going to support crossplay, so you can play with just about anyone. You can have your friends join you normally by inviting them, you can play with random players by firing an SOS flare, or you can even play with offline NPC hunters that you can summon if you want to have an easier time. So get ready to hop on your sacred as you explore the Windward Plains, together with all of your friends to have a lot of fun in the demo. And of course, we couldn't talk about Monster Hunter without talking about cooking the meals. Much like all of the other games in the past, make sure that you eat before going on a quest, or I should say make sure you eat before you go hunting any monsters, because this time you can actually go hunting them, and when you start hitting the monster, it will actually start a quest. And although you might not be able to eat food at the villages or the settlements, of which there is at least one of them present in the Woodward Plains, that is going to be filled with NPCs that you can trade for different ingredients, then be able to craft more powerful meals. But what you can do is set up these pop-up camps. These are essentially portable camps that you can place just about anywhere in the game, though there is going to be a limit on the number of pop-up camps that you can set up on the map, and you can use them for all of your camp related needs. So if you want to restock on items or even cook a special meal that is going to give you additional attack, for example, you can do it just about anywhere with the pop-up camps. And of course, it is also in the pop-up camps where you're able to change your gear as well. And that takes me to my following point, the weapons. Of course, we're going to be able to play with all 14 weapons in the demo. And as I'm sure a lot of you already know by now, unless you have been living under a rock, we're going to be able to select 2 different weapons to take with us on a hunt. And they could even be of the same weapon type, so if you are a crazy man, you can definitely take 2 charge blades with you and destroy a monster. And the way in which you're going to be able to swap weapons is by hopping on your sacred, and you're going to get a button prompt to be able to do so. Me personally, I am likely going to be taking the dual blades and the hunting horn as my first 2 weapons, and honestly just taking the hunting horn with you always sounds like a fun time to give you the buff so you're able to do more damage. But we're going to test all sorts of combinations, and I'm sure that players are going to come up with some ridiculous but fun and powerful combos. Just keep in mind that when you swap weapons, you don't necessarily swap the armor that you have equipped with it, so if you take an armor set that is focused on melee weapons and then swap to a light bowgun, for example, you might not necessarily be benefiting a lot from using it. The weapons this time around are going to feature weapon skills, and even the way in which armor skills are implemented in Monster Hunter Wilds is going to be different, because the developers have this feature of you being able to swap weapons in mind, so that they can incentivize you making these fun combinations. Honestly, I couldn't be any more excited for this. I missed my chance to play Monster Hunter Wilds at Gamescom because of an unexpected family event, and even though I had everything set up to play the game, record it, and even stream it for you guys there, unfortunately I just had to miss it. But this time around, I'm going to be 24/7 on it throughout these 7 days. Now, we are likely going to be getting a second demo sometime later down the road, and I would even expect a second location, most likely the Scarlet Forest, to be available in that second demo, since that is exactly what happened with the Monster Hunter World open betas. We first got access to a demo in the Ancient Forest, and then we got access to a more expanded demo that now included the Wildspire Waste, and you were even able to hunt the Nergigante there, though it was a serious challenge. As I said before, I'm going to be playing this non-stop and streaming it all the way through, as we only have 7 days to enjoy this open beta, and I want to get the most out of it. Hopefully you guys can also join in on the hunts and we can have a great time together. But with that being said, my name is Dark Hero, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, happy hunting!